What if you received a message offering $10 million, but the only way to win was to survive? In a small Ohio town, a man steps into a black SUV and vanishes into a game that's not just deadly, it's being watched by the entire world. People are disappearing. Rules are changing. And what starts as a game turns into a twisted reality where you can't trust anyone, not even yourself. Just when he thinks he understands a game, he looks into a camera and finds his own face watching him. Clapperboard, want to know what happens next? Watch the story till the end, because the truth hiding at the bottom will blow your mind. And if you love dark, mind-bending stories like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop your ideas in the comments. Your twist might be the next story we bring to life. You ever hear about a game that started with a text message? It was a cold Thursday night in Ohio, the kind where the wind cuts through your jacket and the streetlights flicker like they know something's coming. Tyler, a 24-year-old warehouse worker, had just clocked out from the night shift. Tired. Beat. He checked his phone in the parking lot. No notifications, until one popped up. You have been selected. Your number was passed by someone who believed in you. A challenge awaits. $10 million if you win. No cops. No outs. At first, he thought it was a joke. Some viral stunt or scam. But when he got home, the lights in his apartment were flickering. His neighbor's dog, always barking, was dead silent. He opened the fridge to grab a beer, and taped inside the door was a black card. No one had been inside his place. You have 24 hours. Wear all black. Bring nothing. Tyler wasn't the only one. Across town, in a rundown trailer on the edge of the cornfields, a single mom named Denise received the same message. She had 2 jobs, 3 kids, and an eviction notice on her table. And across the country, in a Santa Monica Beach house, an ex-Marine named Wes stared at the same black card in his hand. All of them different. All of them chosen. At exactly 9 p.m. the next night, a black SUV pulled up in front of Tyler's apartment. No driver spoke. No license plate. Just tinted glass and silence. He hesitated for 3 full seconds before stepping in. Inside the vehicle, 5 others already sat. No one talked. Only the hum of the engine and the pounding tension in their chests. The SUV drove for hours. No GPS, no signs, just back roads and darkness. When it stopped, they were at an abandoned factory on the edge of Pennsylvania. Lit up from the inside like a movie set. They were given uniforms, masks, and one rule. You're not here to play a game. You're here to survive one. Cameras followed them everywhere. Drones above. Hidden microphones. They weren't alone. More contestants arrived, 30 in total. Each of them had signed waivers without knowing. Each of them had nothing left to lose. The first game? Simple. Red light, green light. Just like the one you remember from school. Except the stakes were real. They laughed at first. But when the first guy ran during red light, the sound that followed wasn't just a buzzer. It was a gunshot.
And he dropped.
Panic hit. People screamed. But there was no escape. Fences. Armed guards. Drones with red blinking lights watching from the sky. Tyler froze. Every muscle screamed to run. But his brain did the math. He had to move, carefully, fast, smart. One wrong step and you were done. The game ended with 17 left. Blood on the grass. No one said a word. They were led inside. Fed like royalty. Beds with silk sheets. Hot showers. And then they met him. A man in a gray suit. No name. No face. Just a voice. You passed the first challenge. But this was only to see who wants it bad enough. Then he smiled. And asked a question that broke them all. Who do you trust? Because the next game wasn't about speed. It was about betrayal. They had to form squads. Teams of 4. But not everyone would make it to the end. That's when alliances began.
And secrets.
And lies. Tyler partnered with Denise, Wes, and a guy named Cameron, a quiet software engineer from Florida who hadn't said more than 10 words. They thought they could trust each other. Until night came. And one of them didn't wake up. Cameron was gone. Not just missing, gone. his bed untouched, blankets folded like he'd never been there. Tyler stared at the empty bunk, heart hammering. Denise whispered, "They took him." Wes shook his head.
No.
He left. Or they made him leave. But there was no announcement. No gunshot. No warning. Just silence. Then the voice returned.
Cold.
Steady. Nightfall reveals the cracks. Trust is fragile. Loyalty, optional. Game 2 begins now. Doors slid open. The floor beneath them trembled. They were standing in a massive room filled with crates, ropes, ladders, smoke. Like a war zone built in a warehouse. You'll race another squad to reach the tower. The losing team will vote to eliminate one of their own. Wes cursed under his breath. They're turning us against each other. Tyler locked eyes with Denise. We stick together. No matter what. The race began with chaos. Fake gunfire. Smoke bombs. Sirens. They pushed through, crawling under barbed wire, swinging from ropes. Denise fell once. Tyler pulled her up without hesitation. Wes covered their backs, barking orders like he was back in Afghanistan. They made it. Just seconds before the other squad. Breathing hard. Sweating. They'd won. But the celebration died when they saw the losing team. 3 women. 1 old man. A teenage boy. Shaking. Crying. The vote was brutal.
Public.
No secrets. Each person held up a card. Each card had a name. The teenage boy. Max. He stared at them, lips trembling. No, please. I didn't. A buzzer. A scream. The lights cut out. When they came back, he was gone. Just a stain on the floor. No body. No goodbye. That night, back in their bunks, no one spoke. Even the cameras seemed quieter. Like the silence was part of the game. Tyler sat awake, watching the ceiling. Who passed his name to get him here? Why him? Why now? Asterisk, asterisk. That's when he heard it. A whisper, low. From the hallway outside. He opened the door slowly. And there was Cameron. Blood on his shirt. Eyes wild. He grabbed Tyler's arm. Don't trust the girl. And vanished into the dark. Tyler froze. The hallway was empty now. No cameras in sight. No guards. No alarms. Just that echo in his ears. Don't trust the girl. He shut the door slowly, heart racing like a war drum. Denise was sitting up in her bed. You okay? Tyler nodded too quickly.
Yeah.
Just couldn't sleep. She looked at him with tired eyes, half believing, half watching. He climbed back into bed, but sleep never came. By morning, the rules had changed again. The voice returned, smoother this time. Welcome to day 3. Today's test, sacrifice. They were taken outside, where a mock suburban neighborhood had been built like a movie set. White picket fences. Swing sets. Fake birds chirping. In the middle of the cul-de-sac, 7 chairs sat in a circle. And in front of each chair, a screen. Tyler sat in one. Denise beside him. Wes 2 chairs down. On the screen in front of Tyler, his mom. She was sitting at her kitchen table in Dayton, drinking coffee, laughing at something off-screen. Completely unaware. Each of you has someone watching right now. Someone who trusts you, believes in you. Asterisk, asterisk. But to move forward, someone must pay. The voice lingered in the air like fog. Press the button, and they will face a consequence. Don't press, and your squad will. Denise's hands were shaking. Wes muttered, "This is sick." But then a buzzer. One of the players had already pressed. And on the screen, her sister collapsed at the grocery store. No explanation. Just fell to the floor. Another pressed. Then another. One by one. When it was Tyler's turn, his thumb hovered over the button. His squad stared at him. Denise whispered, "We need you. Press it." His hand trembled. He looked back at his mother. Still laughing. Still safe. He pressed. Nothing happened on screen. But across the cul-de-sac, he heard a scream. He turned and saw another squad losing it. A girl crying. No, he wasn't supposed to. And that's when Tyler knew. The screens weren't live. They were pre-recorded.
It was all fake.
He stood up slowly, looking around. This isn't a test of sacrifice. Wes looked up. Then what is it? Tyler's voice cracked. It's a test of obedience. But before anyone could answer, alarms blared. Red lights spun across the sky. Guards ran toward them. And from behind a plastic house, Cameron stepped into view, holding a detonator. Cameron's eyes were wild, rimmed with red, his fingers clenched tight around the small black detonator. Guards screamed, "Get down," but no one moved. Tyler stood frozen, staring at him. "Cameron, what are you doing?" he shouted over the alarm. Cameron didn't blink. "They're lying to you." He pointed at the nearest camera drone buzzing above. "They're not just watching, they're recording everything. This is a broadcast. Not a game. A show." Everyone turned, confused, frightened. Wes stepped toward him, calm but tense. "You're not helping anyone like this." Cameron's voice cracked. "You still think this ends with one winner?" He held up the detonator higher, his hand shaking. "There is no prize. There is no 10 million. This ends when we stop playing." Denise whispered, "He's cracked. He's gone too far." But Tyler wasn't so sure. There was something raw in Cameron's eyes. Something true. Then the voice returned, louder than before. "This is a breach of protocol. Step away from the device, Cameron. Asterisk, asterisk. You have 5 seconds to comply." Cameron's thumb hovered. He looked at Tyler, and for the first time, his voice was soft. "I didn't run. They took me, tried to wipe my memory. But I remember now." "Remember what?" Tyler called out. Cameron's jaw clenched. "I wasn't a player."
The countdown began.
4, 3, I built this place. 2, I designed the rules. 1. A shot rang out, not from the guards, but from somewhere behind the fake houses. Cameron dropped. The detonator clattered across the pavement. Screams erupted. Players ran. Guards tackled people to the ground. Smoke filled the street. Tyler hit the deck, crawling toward Cameron, but hands dragged him back. A sack pulled over his head. Darkness. The last thing he heard. Squad 14, reallocation. Prepare for Game 4. Tyler came to with a jolt. The sack was yanked from his head, and the blinding light overhead made his eyes burn. His hands were tied behind his back. He was no longer in the cul-de-sac. This place was underground. Concrete walls. No windows. No colors. Just humming vents and distant echoes. He was alone. No Denise. No Wes. No guards in sight. A steel door creaked open. 2 figures stepped in. Both wearing white suits with black visors, faces fully covered. One carried a tray, the other a chair. They sat him down, untied his hands. No words, just movements, rehearsed like clockwork. On the tray, a plate of food, a glass of water, and an envelope. Tyler stared. "Where's my team?" Silence. He opened the envelope with trembling fingers. Inside was a photo. Denise. Bound. Blindfolded. Sitting in what looked like the same concrete room. And a single line beneath it, printed in red ink. "Only one of you leaves Game 4. The tray bearer placed a small silver coin beside his plate. Heads, Denise. Tails, Tyler. The voice returned, now calm again. "You have 1 hour. Choose. Or we choose for you." His stomach turned. The food on the plate blurred. This wasn't a game anymore. This was something else. A machine made of fear, trust, and silence. He stood, paced the room. His thoughts were spiraling. Was this the real Game 4? Or just another layer? Then he noticed the camera in the corner. A tiny green light blinking. Watching. Always watching. He picked up the coin, turned it over in his fingers. Again. Again. Then a voice whispered. Not the loudspeaker. This one was in the room. From the vent above. "Don't flip it." Tyler froze. He stepped closer to the vent. "Who's there?" he hissed. Silence. Then, "There's another way. But you have to break the loop." The tray was gone.
So were the guards.
Just him.
And the coin.
The envelope now looked thicker. He picked it up again. Something was behind the photo. A folded note. In shaky handwriting. The coin is a trigger. Not a choice. His hand went cold. His breath caught. Outside the door. Footsteps. Getting closer. Tyler backed away from the door, heart hammering in his chest. The footsteps were slow, deliberate. Heavy boots on concrete. Each step echoing like a countdown in his skull. He looked back at the coin, still resting on the tray. So innocent. So small. Yet now he understood. It wasn't a decision tool. It was a signal. A weapon. A trap. Asterisk, asterisk. The note's words pulsed in his head. The coin is a trigger. Not a choice. He shoved the coin into his pocket. Then, on instinct, he ripped the tray apart. Nothing underneath, except one tiny screw holding its frame together. A screw. A possible edge. He grabbed it. The door clicked. No turning handle. No announcement. Just a slow, silent swing inward. A figure stepped in. Not a guard. Not in white. It was Wes. But his eyes. They were cold. Empty.
He didn't speak. Didn't blink.
Just walked in and closed the door behind him. Tyler stepped back, gripping the tiny screw in his fist. Wes. Silence. He took one more step forward and Tyler noticed. His hands were clenched too. Around something hidden. What did they do to you? Still nothing. Until Wes tilted his head slightly. And said one word. Flip it. Tyler's stomach dropped.
No.
Wes stepped closer. His face twitching now, as if fighting something beneath the surface. Flip it, he repeated, softer this time. Almost pleading. Please. Tyler reached into his pocket. Held the coin up slowly. Wes stared at it, eyes locked. And Tyler saw it. The reflection of a laser, barely visible, hovering on Wes's chest. A sniper. Watching. Asterisk, asterisk. Waiting. This wasn't about Tyler's choice. It was about control. He tightened his fist. Turned toward the camera. And, without a word, he dropped the coin. Let it roll across the concrete. Unflipped. Untouched. Asterisk, asterisk. The lights snapped off. Total darkness. And then, a voice Tyler had never heard before.
Low. Human.
From somewhere in the ceiling above. Now you've really started it. Tyler stood still, fists clenched, chest rising and falling in the pitch dark. Somewhere to his left, Wes was breathing hard too, but not moving, not speaking. Then came the sound.
Click.
A lock disengaging. Not from the main door, but the wall behind him. The concrete hissed open like sliding stone, revealing a narrow tunnel dimly lit by flickering emergency bulbs. Wes turned toward it slowly. Still no emotion in his eyes. Tyler whispered, "You coming?" But Wes just stood there.
Can't.
I signed something. His voice cracked on the last word, like something deeper was breaking. I thought I'd win, Ty. I thought I could take the money and disappear. Tyler stepped closer. They lied. There is no money. Wes nodded slowly, tears slipping down now, though his face didn't change. You need to go. Before they reset it. Reset what? Wes looked at the blinking red light in the corner. The room. The loop. They call it a compliance cycle. They keep running the same choice until you break. Then come with me, Tyler urged. I can't. Then, Wes reached into his jacket and handed him something small, cold. A flash drive. Unlabeled. They don't just run this here. This is one of many sites. The files on that drive, they're backups. Footage. Schematics. Names. He leaned in close. And Tyler, your name's on the list. Before Tyler could respond, Wes shoved him. Hard, through the opening in the wall. The door slammed shut behind him. He banged on it, shouting, Wes. No answer. Just a hallway in front of him. Buzzing lights. Cold air. And a distant sound that chilled his spine. Children laughing. He moved forward slowly, step by step. The hallway opened into another chamber. A school gym. Or what looked like one. Red balloons on the floor, colorful murals on fake walls, and a dozen people seated at tiny desks. All adults, all dressed as children, all smiling. One of them turned slowly. It was Denise, but she didn't seem to recognize him. She raised one finger to her lips. "Show, they're watching." Tyler's breath caught in his throat. Denise's eyes were glassy, vacant, like the light inside her had been dimmed. She wore a paper crown. Her clothes had been changed, bright, childish patterns. But it wasn't her outfit that chilled him. It was the way she smiled.
Wide.
Fixed. Like someone had drawn it onto her face with invisible ink. He stepped forward. "Denise, it's me. Tyler." Her head tilted slightly, a twitch in her cheek. Then she whispered, so quietly he barely caught it. "If you break character, they take you to the basement." The others giggled in unison. As if on cue, a man dressed in overalls bounced a rubber ball against the wall, humming "Twinkle, Twinkle." A woman in pigtails was coloring violently outside the lines. One person sat rocking back and forth, repeating the alphabet over and over, like a scratched vinyl. Tyler whispered again, more urgently, "Denise, what is this?" She blinked, just once, then leaned in. "They call it restage. If you resist too many times, they don't kill you. They reset you." Tyler's skin went cold. Another bell rang, high and metallic. A panel in the wall opened, and a man in a full clown costume stepped in. Not a cheerful birthday clown, but a tall, looming figure with dead eyes and a painted-on grin. He dragged behind him a red cart filled with envelopes, stopped in the center of the gym, then began to call names. "Lucas." A man in footy pajamas stood and walked forward, obedient as a dog. He was handed an envelope, sat back down. "Samantha." The woman with the crayon got hers. Then, "Tyler." The room went still. Denise didn't look at him. Her eyes stayed forward, fixed on the wall like a student obeying a teacher. Tyler stepped forward slowly. The clown watched him with black, wet eyes, handed him the envelope. He opened it. Inside, a single photograph of himself, tied to a chair, in a room he'd never seen before. Blood on the floor. A man in the background, blurry, wearing a headset, watching him, written across the bottom in red ink. "Have you forgotten already?" The clown leaned down, whispered into his ear. "Now it's your turn to teach the class." Tyler stood there, the photo trembling in his hands. The room spun, voices muffled, laughter echoing like it was coming from underwater. He looked again at the image. The man in the background. That wasn't just anyone. It was him. Older, beard thicker, eyes hollow, watching himself from a corner, clipboard in hand. It didn't make sense. Unless this had all happened before. A loop. Not just in the game. In his life. He backed away from the clown, his heart pounding like a drum in his ears. The other students were all staring now, heads turning one by one like a synchronized puppet show.
Denise stood.
Her eyes clearer now. She took his hand, gently. "They let you forget each time. But some memories, they don't die easy." Tyler whispered, "Why me?" She didn't answer, just turned to the far wall. Behind the painted murals and plastic jungle gym, a small exit door. No signs, no lights, just a metal handle. Denise led him toward it. No one stopped them. The clown simply watched, head tilted. Tyler hesitated. "What's through there?" She opened it. A staircase, spiraling down, made of rusted steel. The air was cold, damp. From deep below, a sound rose up. Not machinery, not guards. Voices. Real ones. People shouting, whispering,
Crying.
like 1,000 others trapped beneath the surface. Denise looked back at him. "We're not the only ones." Tyler clenched the flash drive still in his pocket. The only truth he had. He looked back once. At the fake schoolroom. At the clown. At the faces too broken to remember who they were. And he stepped forward.
Down.
Into the dark. Each footstep echoing. Each breath heavier. At the bottom, A wide chamber. Rows of screens. Every contestant. Every game. Dozens of facilities. This wasn't just entertainment. It was infrastructure. And then,
He saw them.
men in suits,
Headsets.
watching him on monitors, just like the photo. And at the center, a single chair, facing away, high-backed, leather. The chair turned, and sitting in it was himself, older,
Come.
smiling. He spoke. "Welcome back, Tyler. You finally made it." Tyler's legs locked beneath him. His mind scrambled to grasp what he was seeing. Himself, older, cleaner, polished. The same scar above the brow, the same flicker in the left eye. Only this version looked like he'd been here for years. "I don't understand," Tyler whispered. The older version stood, slowly walking around the chair, hands folded behind his back. "You do. You just don't want to." Tyler shook his head, heart racing. "This is a trick.
Some AI thing.
Deep fake." The man smiled gently. "You've always been stubborn. That's why you got this far." Behind them, on 100 screens, scenes played out. New contestants stepping into rooms Tyler had once stood in. Others breaking down. Others obeying. "Why me?" Tyler asked again. "Why bring me back?" The older version stepped closer. "Because you built this. You left. You wanted to forget." He pointed to the flash drive in Tyler's pocket. "You made that. A backdoor. In case your conscience ever woke up." Tyler backed away.
No.
"I worked in a warehouse. I had a life. You had a cover. You chose it. A simple life. You even set rules for the loop. Erase your memories. Start over. Let the system run. Until something in you, snapped." Denise stepped into the room behind him, her voice soft. "He's telling the truth, Ty." She held up a photo. It was the two of them, not from the game, but from an office.
A lab.
Both in lab coats, standing in front of the first test chamber. "You saved me once. From the first version. Then you left. You made them erase everything. But they didn't erase me." Tyler staggered back, mind splintering with flashes. Fluorescent lights.
Code.
Screens. A younger Denise laughing as they watched a simulation. A coin rolling. A scream. He dropped to his knees. Memories crashing through like a dam breaking. His older self knelt beside him. "You started this to control chaos. To simulate morality. But it became something else." Tyler looked up. "So, how does it end?" The man smiled. "That's not up to me anymore." He handed him a key. Simple.
Brass. Worn.
1 floor below. Server core. Pull the switch. It all stops. The games. The resets. Everything. Denise looked at him.
Or you stay.
"You lead it. You reshape it." Tyler stood, holding the key in one hand, the flash drive in the other. 2 paths. Behind him, the screens shifted. One showed Wes, sitting alone in the classroom now. Another showed a new girl entering her first game. And another showed Tyler from behind, standing with a key, being watched, just like all the rest. He turned to the stairs, took the first step down, then another, each footfall echoing louder than the last. Behind him, the door closed. The stairwell narrowed as Tyler descended, every step echoing like a heartbeat in the stillness. The walls were colder here, older. The hum of machinery louder, angrier, like the system itself was aware. At the bottom, a single steel door. No guards. No locks. Just the faint glow of light beneath it. He gripped the brass key. Felt its weight. His own fingerprints were worn into its grooves. He had made this choice once before, but he hadn't followed through. Now, there was no loop left to hide behind. He pushed the door open. Inside, the server core pulsed with red and blue light. Massive towers stretched up like mechanical trees, cables tangled like vines. In the center, a switch. Not symbolic. Not metaphor.
Real.
A glass panel covered it. Behind it, a biometric scanner. He stepped forward, placed his hand on the pad. It blinked.
Green.
"Welcome, Mr. Voss." His real name, long buried, never spoken in the game. He lifted the glass, felt the hum of the machine beneath his fingers. Behind him, footsteps. He turned.
Denise.
No mask, no fear, only hope. She nodded once. He took a breath, then pulled the switch. The room dimmed instantly. Screens blinked off one by one, like stars fading from a night sky. The hum silenced. The air grew still. Somewhere far above, alarms sounded, not in panic, but in finality. Doors unlocking. Cameras dying. The game
Ending.
back in the gym, the lights flickered out. The clowns stood frozen. The players sat blinking, as if waking from a long, impossible dream. Wes looked up and smiled. In cities across the country, other facilities powered down. People stepped into daylight for the first time in years. Faces changed. Minds scarred, but free. Tyler stood in the dark. Denise beside him. "Do you remember now?" she asked quietly. He nodded. Not everything, but enough. They turned toward the staircase, ready to climb, ready to face the world. Above them, sunlight waited.
Real. Warm.
Unscripted. The game was over, and the world was finally watching.